Her life was shattered. Her heart was broken. Until she found a message written in blood from herself. 127 years in the past to save a life, to change history, to find love across time itself. The Timeless Ball.
Before we start, rate this story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from, and subscribe to support the channel. Your support means everything. Now, let's begin. Museum Restoration Room, December 31st, 2025, 11:37 p.m. Rain hammers against the windows. The building is empty except for one person. Zendaya, mid-20s, sits alone at a long wooden table covered in artifacts. She's cataloging items from a recently acquired estate collection. She looks exhausted, hollowed out. Her phone sits face down on the table. 14 missed calls from Marcus. She ignores them all. 6 weeks ago, her world imploded. 3-year relationship ended because he'd been cheating for 8 months. With her best friend. Everyone knew, no one told her. So now she's here, alone, on New Year's Eve, losing herself in other people's histories because her own feels like a graveyard. She reaches for the next item, a cream-colored envelope, sealed with dark red wax. She checks the archival documentation first, standard procedure. The tag reads, Item number 1898-047, Estate, Ashworth Manor Collection, acquired 2018. Found, wall cavity, east wing restoration. Contents, invitation to New Year's Eve ball, December 31st, 1898. Address to Clara Whitmore. Note, Clara Whitmore, age 21, disappeared December 31st, 1898. Never found. One of several mysterious Whitmore family disappearances across generations. See attached historical summary. Warning, ink analysis indicates human blood, type O negative. Handle with care. Zendaya's eyebrows rise. Blood? Jesus! She carefully breaks the seal. Inside, a formal invitation printed on thick cardstock. You are cordially invited to the grand ball at Ashworth Manor, December 31st, 1898, 9 o'clock in the evening. Guest of honor, Miss Clara Whitmore. Standard Victorian formality, beautiful calligraphy. But then she turns it over. On the back, written in dark brownish red ink that's definitely blood, Clara, you will recognize me when time stops running. Come back. Save her. Save yourself. Before midnight. Before it's too late. Trust Nathaniel. Trust the archway. This is the only way. Z. Zendaya stares at the message. Her heart pounds. Z. Her initial. She reads it again and again. Come back. Save her. Save yourself. Save Clara Whitmore, the woman who disappeared 127 years ago? But that's impossible. She's dead. Or vanished. The tag says she was never found. Zendaya looks at the handwriting more closely. It's disturbingly familiar, like her own but more rushed, desperate, written by someone in a panic. No, that's insane. This is a 127-year-old invitation. There's no way Thunder crashes outside, loud, close. The lights flicker. Zendaya drops the invitation on the table, stands up. Her hands are shaking. Okay, this is This is just someone's weird prank from 1898. Or a forgery, or... But the blood. The analysis confirmed it was real blood. And that handwriting, why does it look so much like hers? She picks up the invitation again, reads the archival summary attached. Clara Whitmore, born 1877, was the eldest daughter of the Whitmore family, neighbors to the Ashworths. Engaged to Lord Edmund Hastings in October 1898, disappeared from Ashworth Manor during the New Year's Eve ball, December 31st, 1898, approximately 11:47 p.m. Extensive search conducted, never found. Family records indicate a pattern of disappearances in the Whitmore line, at least 6 documented cases over 300 years, all occurring on significant dates, all near stone archways on the Ashworth and Whitmore estates. Local legends speak of cursed doorways and time gates. No scientific explanation ever found. Zendaya's academic mind rejects all of this. Curses, time gates, disappearances. But something in her gut, something primal, is screaming at her. This is real. This is important. This matters. She looks at the clock on the wall. 11:43 p.m. 17 minutes until midnight. The same time Clara supposedly disappeared. Before midnight. Before it's too late. This is crazy, Zendaya whispers to herself. I should go home. I should... But she can't stop staring at the message, at her own initial signed at the bottom. What if? What if this is real? What if I somehow sent this message back through time? What if Clara Whitmore needs help? What if I'm supposed to... She laughs. It sounds slightly unhinged even to her own ears. I'm losing it. Completely losing it. Time travel doesn't exist. This is just stress, grief, exhaustion. But her hand reaches out anyway. Touches the blood-written message on the back of the invitation. The moment her skin makes contact, the world tilts. Colors bleed together. The room spins violently. Zendaya tries to scream, but no sound comes out. Everything goes white. Then black. Then...
Zendaya's eyes snap open. She's lying on cold stone, garden path, night air. She sits up, gasping for breath, disoriented. What just happened? She looks around. She's outside, in a massive formal garden, lanterns hanging from posts, perfectly manicured hedges, stone statues, and she's wearing a Victorian ball gown? She scrambles to her feet, looking down at herself in shock. Full corseted dress, midnight blue silk with intricate beading. Her hair is styled in an elaborate updo with pins she definitely didn't put there. What the hell? Miss Whitmore, there you are. Zendaya spins around. A woman in Victorian servant's clothing approaches quickly, looking relieved but also annoyed. We've been searching everywhere. You were expected inside an hour ago. Lord Ashworth was beginning to worry. Are you ill? You look pale. Where am I? The woman frowns. Ashworth Manor, of course. The New Year's ball. You are expected. Your name is on the guest list. She pulls out a small card. See? Clara Whitmore, arriving from London. Zendaya's blood runs cold. Clara Whitmore. They think I'm Clara Whitmore, the woman who's supposed to disappear tonight? I'm not Clara. Miss, are you quite all right? Should I fetch a physician? Zendaya's mind races. The invitation, I touched it, and now I'm here, in 1898. Actually in 1898, dressed as Clara Whitmore. On the night, she disappears. The servant is looking at her with increasing concern. Zendaya forces herself to breathe, to think. Okay, play along, figure out what's happening, find Clara, find this Nathaniel mentioned in the message, and figure out how to get back home. I'm fine, Zendaya manages. Just dizzy for a moment. The travel was exhausting. Of course, let's get you inside. The ball has already begun. The woman gently guides Zendaya toward the manor house. As they walk, Zendaya sees it. A massive stone archway at the edge of the garden, ancient, covered in carved symbols, a family crest at the top, 3 ravens and a crown. Even from a distance, she can feel it. A pull, a resonance. The archway, the time gate from the legends. That's what brought me here. And that's probably where Clara disappeared. The servant is looking at her with increasing concern. The Whitmore archway? Your family built it, yes? Centuries ago. Beautiful stonework. My family? The Whitmores. Though I understand the estates have been separated for generations, still lovely that the families remain close. They reach the manor house. Music drifts from inside. Voices. Laughter. Zendaya looks back at the archway one more time. Before midnight. Save her, save yourself. She checks a nearby clock visible through the window. 2 hours and 13 minutes until midnight. 2 hours to figure out what happened to Clara Whitmore. 2 hours to prevent it. 2 hours to find a way home. She takes a deep breath and steps inside.
The servant leads Zendaya through corridors that shouldn't exist. Everything is real. The textures, the sounds, the smells. Candle wax, perfume, wood polish. This isn't a dream. She's actually here in 1898. They reach the ballroom entrance. It's magnificent. Hundreds of guests in period formal wear, a live orchestra, crystal chandeliers. The air thick with heat and conversation. Zendaya stands frozen at the entrance. This is real. This is all real. I'm in 1898. I time traveled by touching a blood-written invitation. What the hell is my life right now? Ms. Whitmore. A man approaches, older, distinguished, cold eyes that assess her like property. Lord Edmund Hastings. He takes her hand without asking. His grip is too tight, possessive. Your fiancé. We've been waiting. Fiancé? Oh no. Clara was engaged. The summary said she was engaged to... Zendaya pulls her hand back. I think there's been a mistake. The only mistake was your tardiness. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. Come, we have appearances to maintain. He tries to steer her into the crowd. Zendaya resists. I need a moment. You've had plenty of moments. Now you'll do as... The lady said she needs a moment. A new voice. Male. Firm but not aggressive. Zendaya turns, and her breath catches. A man. Late 20s, dark hair, sharp, intelligent features. Evening formal wear. Rapier at his side. He's looking at Lord Hastings with barely concealed disdain. Lord Ashworth, he says coldly, this is a private matter. In my home, there are no private matters, especially when a guest appears distressed. He turns to Zendaya. His eyes are kind, concerned. Miss, would you like some air? The gardens are quite pleasant this evening. Zendaya nods, unable to speak. Nathaniel. This is Nathaniel Ashworth. Trust Nathaniel, the message said. Hastings' jaw tightens. Clara, we are not finished. Actually, we are. Zendaya finds her voice, stronger than she feels. I need space, and you need to learn the meaning of the word no. She walks past him toward the terrace doors. Nathaniel follows. Behind them, Hastings' expression darkens with barely controlled rage. But Zendaya doesn't care. She needs answers. And, apparently, this man, Nathaniel Ashworth, is supposed to help her find them.
They step out onto the terrace. Cool night air, lantern-lit paths. Zendaya breathes deeply, trying to process everything. Thank you, she manages, for the intervention. Lord Hastings is not known for his respect toward women. I apologize on behalf of my guest list. You invited him? My father did, before he passed. I'm stuck honoring his commitments. Nathaniel studies her face. You're not Clara Whitmore, are you? Zendaya's eyes widen. How did you... Because I met Clara Whitmore this afternoon. She is currently in the library, reading, avoiding the ball because she's terrified of her engagement to Hastings. Then, who do they think I am? An excellent question. You arrived wearing a gown from this era, announced as Clara Whitmore, but you speak differently, carry yourself differently, and you looked at this ballroom like you'd never seen one before. He leans against the terrace railing. So, who are you, really? Zendaya makes a split-second decision. My name is Zendaya. I'm from very far away, and I'm here because of an invitation that told me to come back and save her before midnight, written in blood, probably my blood, from the future. She expects him to laugh, to call her insane. Instead, he nods slowly. Time travel. Fascinating. That would explain the archways. You believe me? I believe something impossible is happening tonight. I've felt it all day. A charge in the air, like reality is thinner than usual. He pushes off the railing. Show me the invitation. I don't have it. It's in my time, 2025. His eyebrows rise. You're from 128 years in the future. Yes. And you traveled back to stop something, to save someone named her. Clara, I think. The message said, save her, and everyone thinks I'm Clara. So, maybe Clara is supposed to die tonight, or disappear, and you're here to prevent it. But how? Why? And why would future me send the invitation? Those, Nathaniel says, are excellent questions, and we have, he checks his pocket watch, 2 hours and 43 minutes to find answers before midnight. Why are you helping me? He looks at her directly, intensely. Because I've spent my entire life feeling like I'm waiting for something I can't name. And the moment you walked into that ballroom, that feeling crystallized into certainty. You're what I've been waiting for. I don't understand it, but I trust it. Zendaya's breath catches. That's insane. So is time travel, yet here we are. He offers his hand. Nathaniel James Ashworth, at your service. She takes it. Zendaya. Just Zendaya. Well, just Zendaya, let's go save someone's life and unravel a temporal mystery. I've always wanted an interesting New Year's Eve. Despite everything, Zendaya laughs, and together they head back inside. They find Clara exactly where Nathaniel said she'd be, in the manor library, curled in a chair by the fireplace, reading. She's beautiful. Delicate features, dark hair, sad eyes. She looks up when they enter, sees Zendaya, and screams. What? Who? How? Clara scrambles backward, knocking over her book. It's all right, Nathaniel says quickly. Clara, this is... She looks like me. She's wearing my dress. How is she wearing my dress? Zendaya looks down, realizes Clara is right. They're wearing nearly identical gowns. Same style, same color. I can explain, Zendaya starts. Explain what? That you're my twin? That I'm hallucinating? That I'm you from the future? Sort of. Maybe. I don't fully understand it myself. Clara stops. Stares. What? Nathaniel gestures for them both to sit. This will sound impossible, but hear us out. Over the next 10 minutes, Zendaya explains the invitation, the message in blood, the time travel, and the warning to save her. Clara listens, silent, processing. Finally, so you're saying that in the future, I, or you, or some version of us, sent a message back in time to prevent something terrible from happening tonight? Yes. And you think that terrible thing involves me? I know it does, because you're supposed to disappear tonight, December 31st, 1898. The historical records in my time say Clara Whitmore vanished without a trace. Vanished? Yes, and I'm here to stop it. Clara stands abruptly, paces. I need to show you something. She goes to a desk in the corner, unlocks a drawer, pulls out a leather-bound journal. This belonged to my great-aunt Eliza. She disappeared 50 years ago, on New Year's Eve, from this very estate. Clara opens the journal to a marked page. Read this. Zendaya reads aloud. December 30th, 1848. Tomorrow is the ball. I can feel it calling me. The archway in the East Garden. It's been whispering to me for weeks, promising escape, freedom, a life beyond this gilded cage. Thomas left through one 20 years ago, and before him, Margaret, and before her, others whose names are lost. The Whitmore curse, they call it. But I don't think it's a curse. I think it's a choice, and tomorrow, I'm going to make it. Silence. There are more entries, Clara says quietly, from other Whitmores, going back 200 years. They all mention the archways, and they all disappear. But they're not being taken, they're choosing to leave. Yes, because the archways offer escape. To when or where, I don't know, but they offer a way out of unbearable circumstances. Clara looks at Zendaya. And tonight, I'm supposed to make that choice too. Why? What's unbearable about your circumstances? Clara's hands tremble. I'm engaged to Lord Hastings, against my will. My father arranged it to pay off debts. Edmund he's cruel, controlling. He's already hurt me twice, once where no one could see, once in front of witnesses who chose to look away. If I marry him, I don't think I'll survive a year. Then don't marry him, Zendaya says fiercely. Call it off, run away, anything but... Run where? With what money? In this era, women have no rights, no options. The archway is the only escape that won't destroy my family's remaining reputation. But if you disappear, it destroys your family anyway. No, if I disappear mysteriously, I'm a tragedy, a victim of circumstances unknown. My family can mourn and move on and find other advantageous marriages for my sisters. But if I run away, if I openly defy my engagement, we're ruined, disgraced.
My younger sisters will never marry. We'll lose everything. The weight of Victorian society's cruelty settles over the room. There has to be another way, Zendaya insists. Then tell me what it is, because I've looked for months, and the only answer I keep coming back to is... The library door slams open. Lord Hastings stands there, drunk, furious. There you are, hiding, again. Edmund, you shouldn't be... Don't tell me what I should or shouldn't do. He advances on Clara. You're my fiancé, my property, and you'll stop embarrassing me by... He grabs Clara's arm roughly. She cries out in pain, and something in Zendaya snaps. She steps between them, forcefully shoves Hastings back. Get your hands off her! Hastings stumbles, shock on his face. How dare you? How dare you? Touching her like that, hurting her. You're a pathetic bully who... Hastings raises his hand to strike Zendaya. Nathaniel's rapier is at his throat before the blow lands. Try it, Nathaniel says, voice deadly calm. Please, give me an excuse. Hastings freezes, looks at the blade, at Nathaniel's expression. You wouldn't dare. I'm a lord. You're a guest in my home, and you just assaulted 2 women under my protection. Your title means nothing here. Leave, now, or I'll make sure you leave on a stretcher. For a long moment, no one moves. Then Hastings slowly backs away, points at Clara. This engagement is over. Your family can rot in debt. I want nothing to do with a family that produces such ungrateful, defiant... Wonderful, Nathaniel interrupts. You've made your position clear. Goodbye, Lord Hastings. Hastings storms out. The library falls silent. Clara is shaking. He just freed you, Zendaya says. The engagement is broken. You're free. But my family, the debts, you're alive and free, and that's what matters. Clara sinks into a chair, starts crying, not sad tears. Relief. Overwhelming relief. I don't have to marry him. I don't have to... Nathaniel and Zendaya give her space. After a few minutes, Clara looks up. But the archway, the invitation, if I don't disappear tonight, doesn't that change history? Doesn't that mean... She looks at Zendaya. If I don't disappear, do you still exist? Zendaya freezes. She hadn't thought about that. If Clara doesn't disappear, if Clara stays and her family line continues differently, what happens to Zendaya's existence?
We need more information, Nathaniel says, about the archways, about what happens if we change what's supposed to happen. He leads them to a hidden door in the library. Behind it, stairs leading down. Private archives, family records going back 300 years. They descend into a stone chamber, shelves of ancient documents. Nathaniel lights lamps, starts pulling ledgers. The Ashworths and Whitmores have been neighbors for centuries. If there's information about the archways, it'll be here. They search, minutes ticking by. Zendaya finds it. A leather folder marked Ashworth Whitmore Correspondence, Confidential, 1547. Inside, letters between Aldrich Whitmore and Thomas Ashworth. She reads aloud. My dear friend Thomas, I have completed the construction, 7 archways scattered across our estates, built according to specifications found in the texts recovered from the Welsh ruins. They function as designed. I tested the first today, stepped through, and emerged 3 days prior. I watched myself enter. A loop. A paradox. But, Thomas, there is a cost. Each archway requires an anchor, a life tied to its function. Whitmore blood specifically. The magic bonded to my family line when I activated the first gate. Every generation
One Whitmore will be called by the archways, pulled toward them, feeling an irresistible need to step through. This is not a gift. It's a curse I have inadvertently created. And worse, if the called person does not go through, if they resist the pull past midnight on the designated night, the archway will take them anyway, forcibly, violently, ripping them from time and scattering their existence across centuries. I have doomed my bloodline, Thomas, and I do not know how to undo it. May God forgive me. Aldrich, 1547. Silence in the archives. Oh my God, Clara whispers. It's not a choice. It's a summons. If you don't go through willingly by midnight, the archway takes you anyway, but violently, killing you in the process. So my options are walk through and disappear into another time, or resist and die horribly. There has to be a third option, Nathaniel says. There has to be. Wait, Zendaya interrupts. The letter says the called person, but how does the archway choose? And why tonight specifically for Clara? They keep searching. Find another document, more recent, dated October 1898. A consultation report from Madame Rousseau, seer. Clara's family hired her to investigate the disappearances. Her findings. The archway calls to those who need escape most desperately. It senses suffering. Desperation, the unbearable weight of circumstances. Clara Whitmore's engagement to Lord Hastings has created exactly such circumstances. The archway has marked her. December 31st, midnight, it will call. However, there is a peculiarity. My visions show two Clara Whitmores present at midnight. One old, one new. One from this time, one from another. They will meet at the arch. And what happens next, I cannot see. The timeline fractures, splits. Multiple possibilities collapse into one moment. This has never happened before. I fear what it means. Zendaya's blood runs cold. Two Claras, one from this time, one from another. She looks down at herself, at the dress identical to Clara's. Oh no, oh no, no, no. What? Nathaniel asks. The archway thinks I'm Clara. I'm wearing her dress. I look enough like her, and I came through an archway, which means I have, what, some kind of temporal signature that the magic recognizes? So the archway is confused. It called for me, but you arrived instead. You're the other Clara from the vision. Which means, at midnight, the archway is going to try to take both of us. The clock in the archives strikes 11. 1 hour left. We need to get to the archway, now, before midnight. We need to understand what we're dealing with and how to stop it. They run.
They reach the garden. The archway looms ahead. Stone, ancient, covered in carved symbols, the Whitmore crest prominent at the top. It's pulsing, faintly, like a heartbeat. It knows we're here, Clara whispers. Zendaya steps forward, touches the stone. Immediately, images flood her mind. Clara walking through, disappearing into light. A woman screaming, being ripped apart by temporal forces. Zendaya herself writing the invitation in her own blood. Two timelines splitting, collapsing, destroying each other. A paradox forming, reality fracturing. And at the center, a choice. Zendaya pulls her hand back, gasping. It showed me what happens. What? Nathaniel asks urgently. If Clara goes through, she disappears. The timeline continues as recorded, but I'm stuck here forever,
erased from my own time because the paradox of my presence gets resolved by removing me from 2025. And if Clara doesn't go through, Clara asks, the archway takes her by force at midnight, killing her in the process. And the backlash of her death, it ripples through time, affects the whole Whitmore line, including me. I might cease to exist entirely. Then what's the third option? Nathaniel demands. Zendaya looks at the archway, at Clara, at Nathaniel. There is one, but it's insane. More insane than time travel? Yes. Zendaya takes a breath. The archway is confused because there are two of us, two Claras. It wants to balance the equation. So, what if we both go through, together, at the exact same moment? What would that do? I don't know. Maybe it would satisfy the magic. Maybe it would merge us somehow. Maybe it would split us across different timelines. Maybe it would kill us both, Clara finishes. Yeah, maybe that. Silence. There has to be another way, Nathaniel says desperately. There isn't, Zendaya says quietly. I've seen it. The visions. Every path leads to death or erasure except this one, and even this one is uncertain. She looks at him, really looks at him. I'm sorry. I just met you, and now I have to... No, his voice is firm. You don't. I'll find another way. There's no time. The clock tower begins chiming. 11:30. We have 30 minutes, and I need to tell you something. She pulls him aside. Clara respectfully steps away. Nathaniel, listen to me. In my time, there are records of you living until 1958. You spend your whole life studying temporal mechanics, trying to understand the archways. Why would I do that? Because of tonight, because of me. You're going to spend the next 60 years trying to figure out how to save me, how to reach me, how to... She stops. Realizes something. Oh my God, the invitation. I wrote it in blood because blood carries DNA, temporal markers. I sent it back through time so that future me would find it and come back here and create a loop. Nathaniel finishes. You came here because you sent yourself here. But why? Why would I do that? Clara approaches quietly. Maybe because this is how it was always supposed to happen. Maybe you and I going through together is the only way the timeline survives intact. Maybe this is the solution. Or maybe it's a trap, Zendaya says. Maybe I doom us both. Or maybe you save us both. They look at each other. Two versions of the same person, separated by coincidence and magic. I'm scared, Clara admits. Me too. But I trust you. I don't even trust myself right now. Then trust me, and let's do this together. Zendaya looks at Nathaniel. He looks destroyed. I just found you. I can't lose you already. You won't, because I'm going to find a way back, somehow, and you're going to help me. How? By living, by researching, by becoming the person who figures out how temporal mechanics work, and by leaving me clues, breadcrumbs across 127 years, so that when I make it back, I know how to find you. That's impossible. So was meeting you, and yet here we are. The clock begins its final approach to midnight. 15 minutes. Nathaniel kisses her, desperate, fierce, like he's trying to memorize her. Find me, he whispers. In any timeline, any time, find me. I will. When time stops running, I'll recognize you. She steps back, joins Clara at the archway. It's glowing brighter now, pulsing faster. "Ready?" Zendaya asks. "No, but let's do it anyway." They hold hands, step forward together. The archway roars to life. Light explodes outward. Nathaniel shields his eyes. When he looks again, they're gone. Both of them. The archway returns to inert stone. Midnight chimes, and Nathaniel James Ashworth is alone in the garden, having just watched the woman he loves disappear into time itself. He falls to his knees and makes a vow. "I will find you. I don't care how long it takes. I will find you."
The moment their hands touch the archway's threshold, reality shatters. Zendaya feels herself being pulled apart, not physically but essentially, like every atom of her being is being examined, cataloged, understood by something ancient and vast and utterly inhuman. She can't scream. She has no mouth, no body, just consciousness floating in a space between spaces. Colors that don't exist, sounds that have no source, the sensation of falling and rising simultaneously. And then, connection. Clara's memories flood into her like a dam breaking. A childhood in the 1880s, playing in gardens, a mother's gentle hands braiding her hair. The slow realization that as a woman, she owns nothing, controls nothing, is nothing in the eyes of the law. The first time Edmund Hastings looked at her, not as a person but as an acquisition. The bruise on her arm from when she tried to refuse his proposal, hidden under long sleeves, never spoken of. Nights lying awake planning escape routes that don't exist. The whisper of the archway calling her name. And Zendaya feels Clara experiencing her memories in return. Growing up in the 2000s with freedoms Clara can't even comprehend. Choosing her own career, her own path, being able to say no and have it mean something. The heartbreak with Marcus, the betrayal, the loneliness. Finding the invitation. Making the impossible choice to step through time. Their consciousnesses spiral around each other, intertwining, becoming something new. Neither fully Zendaya, neither fully Clara, both and more than both. The archway's magic doesn't know what to do with two people arriving as one, so it does what magic does when faced with paradox. It adapts. It creates a new possibility, a single consciousness with two lifetimes of memories, two perspectives, two souls merged into one. And then, impact.
London, 1912, 14 years later. She wakes on cobblestone, rain falling, gaslit street lamps casting orange glow through fog. She sits up slowly. Her body aches. She's wearing different clothes now, early 20th century. Simple dress, working class. Where am I? When am I? She staggers to her feet, looks around, sees a newspaper discarded in a puddle. The Daily Mail, April 15th, 1912. The headline? Titanic sinks, 1,500 feared dead. 1912. She didn't travel to 2025. She traveled forward from 1898, 14 years forward. But why here? Why now? And then she understands. The archway doesn't just move people through time. It moves them to where they need to be, when they need to be there. So why does she need to be in London in 1912? She walks, trying to orient herself.
The merged memories of Zendaya and Clara help her. Clara knows Victorian London, and Zendaya's modern knowledge helps her adapt. After an hour of wandering, she finds herself standing in front of a building, the Royal Society. And on the board outside, posted notices for upcoming lectures. Mr. N.J. Ashworth, Theoretical Mechanics and Temporal Causality, April 16th, 8 p.m. Her heart stops. Nathaniel. He's here, in London, giving a lecture. Tomorrow. She reads the description. Mr. Ashworth, independent researcher, formerly of Cambridge, will present his groundbreaking theories on the mathematical properties of time, causality loops, and the theoretical possibility of temporal displacement. Controversial but rigorous. All serious scholars welcome. He did it. He spent 14 years researching, learning, becoming exactly who he needed to be. And somehow, he's here, at the exact moment she is. The archway brought her here to find him. She looks down at her hands. They're shaking. Tomorrow she'll see him again. But will he recognize her? She's been changed by the merge. She's not exactly Zendaya anymore. Not exactly Clara. She's someone new. Will that matter to him? She finds a cheap boarding house, pays for a room with coins she finds in her pocket. The archway even provided period-appropriate money. That night, she can't sleep. She paces, rehearsing what she'll say. Hi, Nathaniel. Remember me? I disappeared through a time portal 14 years ago. I've been merged with another person's consciousness, but it's still me, sort of. No, that's terrible. She tries again. Nathaniel, you told me to find me. I'm here. Better. Simpler. But will that be enough? She arrives at the Royal Society early. The lecture hall is filling up. Scientists, academics, skeptics coming to mock the crazy man who thinks time travel is real. She takes a seat in the back, hood up, watching. And then he enters. Nathaniel, 14 years older, lines around his eyes, gray starting to thread through his dark hair, but still him, still those same intelligent, searching eyes. He looks tired, like he's been fighting this battle for a very long time. He begins his lecture, and it's brilliant. He's turned his grief into science, his heartbreak into equations. He's mapped the theoretical mechanics of temporal displacement with stunning accuracy. Everything he's saying, it's correct. She knows because she's lived it. The audience is skeptical, but impressed. He handles their questions with patience and precision. And then 40 minutes into the lecture, he pauses, looks directly at her. Even with her hood up, even from the back of the room, he knows. His breath catches. The words he was about to say die on his lips. The audience shifts uncomfortably, confused by the sudden silence. Nathaniel sets down his notes. I apologize, he says quietly, but I need to end the lecture early. Personal emergency. Protests from the audience. But he's already walking toward her. She stands, pulls back her hood, and the moment he sees her face, really sees her, time stops running. They stand 3 feet apart in the emptying lecture hall, neither speaking, just staring. It's you, he finally whispers. I thought I'd imagined you, a fever dream from grief and exhaustion. You didn't imagine me. You look different, but the same. How is that possible? It's a long story, involving temporal magic doing weird things to consciousness. But yes, it's me. Sort of. I'm both of them now, Zendaya and Clara, merged. He takes a step closer. I've looked for you for 14 years, every day. I built my entire life around finding you again. I know, I saw the lecture listings. You've become exactly who I needed you to become. And you're here. You're actually here. The archway brought me, 14 years forward from 1898, dropped me in London in 1912, right before your lecture. It knew. Somehow it knew this is where we needed to meet. Another step. They're inches apart now. I promised I'd find you when time stopped running. And I promised I'd recognize you. Do you? Even though I'm different now? He reaches up, touches her face gently, like she might disappear if he's not careful. I'd recognize you across any amount of time, in any form. I've spent 14 years memorizing every detail of that one night. You could be entirely different, and I'd still know you. She starts crying, relief and joy and overwhelming emotion. I was so scared you'd moved on, found someone else, forgotten. Forgotten? I've published 17 papers trying to bring you back. I've dedicated my entire existence to understanding what happened to you. Moving on was never an option. He pulls her into his arms, and she collapses into him, sobbing. All the fear, all the uncertainty, all the loneliness of being scattered through time, it pours out of her, and he holds her, anchoring her, reminding her she's real and here and found. When she finally pulls back, he's crying too. 14 years, he says. 14 years I've waited for this moment. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I left. Don't apologize. You saved Clara. You stopped the curse. You did what you had to do. He wipes her tears. But now you're here, and I'm not letting you disappear again. I don't know if I can stay. The archway brought me here, but I don't know if this is my final destination or just another stop. Then we'll figure it out together. Whatever happens next, we'll face it as a team. She laughs through her tears. You're insane. You told me that once before. And I said time travel was insane too. And I was right. They stand there, foreheads touching, just breathing each other in. I've missed you, even though I only knew you for a few hours. I've missed you for 14 years. That's not a fair comparison. Love isn't fair. It's just real. And he kisses her, not desperate like their first kiss, not urgent. This kiss is a reunion, a recognition, a promise that whatever comes next, they'll face it together. When they finally break apart, she smiles. So, what happens now? Now? He takes her hand. Now I take you to my research lab, show you everything I've discovered, and we figure out how to get you home. Home? 2025. Your time. That's where you belong, isn't it? That's where you came from. She hesitates. I don't know if that's home anymore. I'm not just Zendaya now. I'm Clara, too. And Clara's home was the Victorian era. I'm caught between. Then we'll find you a new home. Wherever, whenever that might be. She squeezes his hand, and together, they walk out into the London rain.
They don't solve it quickly. It takes decades. But they have those decades together. Nathaniel's research lab becomes their shared space. He has the theoretical knowledge, she has the lived experience. Together, they map the archways, understand the magic, learn the rules. The years blur. 1913, they published their first joint paper under pseudonyms, Temporal Mechanics and the Properties of Causality Loops. It's dismissed as fantasy by the academic establishment, but a few fringe scientists take notice. 1915, World War I begins. Nathaniel is too old to be conscripted, but young enough to contribute. He works on coded communications. She works as a nurse. Clara's memories of Victorian medical knowledge surprisingly useful. The war is hell. They see too much death, too much suffering. But they have each other. 1918, the war ends. They move to the countryside, a small cottage near one of the archways. They need to be close to study it properly. 1920, a breakthrough. They figure out how to measure temporal displacement, create instruments that can detect when the archways are active. 1925, she starts having dreams, memories that aren't hers or Clara's. Flashes of 2025, of the museum, of touching the invitation. The loop is asserting itself, pulling her toward the moment she must create it. 1930. Nathaniel's hair is fully gray now. He's in his early 60s. She's aged too. Physically, she's in her late 30s. The merge seems to have stabilized her aging at a slower rate than normal. They still don't understand why. 1935. Another breakthrough. They discover that the archways respond to intention, to need, to desperation. That's why Clara was called in 1898. She desperately needed escape. That's why Zendaya was pulled back. She desperately needed purpose after her heartbreak. That's why she landed in 1912. She desperately needed to find Nathaniel. The magic is guided by emotional necessity. 1940. World War II. They're older now, less directly involved, but they shelter refugees, use their cottage as a safe house. Nathaniel's knowledge of coded messages helped the resistance. She used her nursing skills again. More death, more suffering, but also more proof that kindness matters, that love endures even in the darkest times. 1945. The war ends. They're exhausted, getting older, running out of time. Nathaniel is 73. She's physically in her mid-40s. They've been together for 33 years, and they're finally close to understanding how to send her back. 1950. The final breakthrough. They discover that the invitation she found in 2025 wasn't just sent back through time, it was sent back through her own personal timeline. She has to create it. She has to write the message in her own blood. She has to ensure it ends up in the museum collection. She has to close the loop. 1953. Nathaniel is dying. Cancer. Inoperable. He has maybe 5 years left, maybe less. She's devastated. They've spent 41 years together. She can't imagine existing without him. But he's calm about it. "I've had more than I ever hoped for," he says. "I found you again. We've had decades together. We've built a life. I have no regrets. But I'm not ready to lose you." "Then don't think of it as losing me. Think of it as temporary separation. You're going back to 2025 eventually, and I'll be waiting. You'll be dead. Maybe, or maybe time works differently than we think. Maybe I'll find a way to reach you, even after death." She doesn't believe him, but she wants to. 1955. They complete the final calculations.
To send her back to 2025, she needs to use a different archway, one with stronger temporal stability. There's one in Wales, near ancient ruins. They travel there, both of them. One last journey together. Nathaniel is weak now, walking with a cane, but determined. They stand before the archway. "This is it," she says. "If I go through, I'll end up in late 2025, right before I'm supposed to find the invitation. And you'll write the message, send it back, close the loop." "Yes. And then?" "And then, I don't know. Maybe the timeline stabilizes. Maybe I get to live a normal life in 2025. Maybe I cease to exist because the paradox resolves. I have no idea."
Nathaniel takes her hands. "Whatever happens, know this. These 43 years with you have been the best of my life. I'd do it all again, every moment." She's crying now. "I can't leave you, not when you're dying. I'm 83. I've lived a full life, longer than I had any right to expect, and I've spent it with the woman I love. I'm ready." "I'm not." "I know, but you have to go anyway, because this is how the timeline works. This is how we ensure everything happens the way it needs to." "I hate time travel." He laughs. It turns into a cough. "Me too. But it brought us together, so I can't hate it entirely." She kisses him. "One last time. I'll find you again, somehow, in 2025. I'll find you. When time stops running, I'll recognize you." She steps back, turns toward the archway, but before she can step through, Nathaniel stops her. "Wait! One more thing." He pulls out a sealed envelope. "I've been working on this for years. It's my research, all of it, compiled and organized, instructions for how to use the archways, how to navigate time safely, how to find your way home." "Why are you giving me this?" "Because you'll need it. Not now, but later, when things get complicated. Things are already complicated. They're about to get more complicated. Trust me." He presses the envelope into her hands. "And one more thing. This." He gives her a small velvet box. Inside, a ring. Simple silver band with a small stone. "It was my mother's. I want you to have it." "Nathaniel, I can't." "You can. You will. Wear it in 2025, and when the time is right, you'll understand why." She puts it on. It fits perfectly. "I love you," she says, "across every timeline, every possibility. I love you." "And I love you. Now go, before I change my mind about being noble." She turns, steps through the archway. White light engulfs her, and Nathaniel James Ashworth watches the woman he loves disappear for the second time. He stands there for a long moment. Then he smiles. "See you soon, my love." And he walks away into the mist.
London, December 2025. Zendaya stumbles out of the archway in a closed museum wing, but she's not in Wales anymore. She's in London, the museum where she works, or used to work. She looks down at herself. She's wearing modern clothes, jeans, sweater. The ring Nathaniel gave her on her finger. Her body feels different, lighter, younger. She's back to her physical mid-20s. The merge with Clara is still there. She has both sets of memories. But her body has reset to her original age, the archway's magic, doing its strange work again. She checks her phone. It powers on. December 30th, 2025, 11:47 p.m. One day before she's supposed to find the invitation. She's back, but earlier than she expected. She has time to prepare.
She walks through the empty museum. It's after hours. Security is minimal. She makes her way to the restoration room. The invitation is there, in the collection box, waiting to be catalogued tomorrow night by her past self. She picks it up carefully, turns it over. The back is blank. She needs to write the message. She finds a pin, sterilizes it, pricks her finger. Blood wells up. And she writes, in her own hand, the message she found 127 years ago. Clara, you will recognize me when time stops running. Come back. Save her. Save yourself. Before midnight. Before it's too late. Trust Nathaniel. Trust the archway. This is the only way. Z. The loop closes. She places the invitation back carefully, ensures it will be found by her past self tomorrow night. And then she leaves. Outside, London is preparing for New Year's Eve. She walks through the cold December night, processing everything. She lived 43 years with Nathaniel, from 1912 to 1955. She watched him age, watched him die. And now she's back in 2025, young again, with decades of memories that technically haven't happened yet. Where does she even begin? She finds a hotel, checks in, and collapses on the bed. And for the first time in 43 subjective years, she allows herself to grieve. She sobs, deep, wrenching cries. For Nathaniel, for Clara, for the life she lived and lost, for the impossible weight of having lived more than 60 years while her body remained young. She cries until she has nothing left, and then she sleeps. January 1st, 2026, the next morning. She wakes to her phone ringing, unknown number. She answers groggily. Hello? Zendaya Martinez? Yes? This is Helen Wright from the museum. We've been trying to reach you. You didn't show up for your shift on New Year's Eve. Are you all right? Zendaya's mind races. Right. Her past self disappeared that night, traveled back to 1898. The museum thinks she's been missing for a day. I'm fine. I had a family emergency. I'm so sorry I didn't call. That's all right. We were just worried. Can you come in today? We need to discuss your timeline going forward. Actually, I need to request a leave of absence. Personal reasons. A few months, if possible? A pause. That's, highly irregular, but given your excellent record, I think we can arrange something. How long do you need? 3 months, maybe 4. All right, we'll process the paid work. Take care of yourself, Zendaya. Thank you. She hangs up. 3 months. That's how long she needs, because Nathaniel left her instructions in that envelope, and she needs time to follow them. She opens the envelope he gave her in 1955. Inside, pages and pages of research notes, equations, maps, and a letter. My dearest Zendaya, if you're reading this, you've made it back to 2025. Good. That means the timeline is stable and the loop is closed. But your journey isn't over. I spent the years after you left doing more research, and I discovered something extraordinary. The archways don't just allow travel through time, they allowed travel through timelines, parallel possibilities, alternate versions of reality. In one of those timelines, I found a version of myself that never died in 1958, a version that figured out how to use the archways to jump forward, a version that's waiting for you in 2026. I left him instructions, told him everything. He knows you're coming. His name is Nathan Ashford. He works in London, at the museum where you found the invitation. Find him. He's me, sort of. A version of me from a timeline where things went differently. And he's been waiting for you his entire life. When time stops running, you'll recognize him. I promise. With all my love, across every timeline, Nathaniel. Zendaya stares at the letter. A version of Nathaniel who jumped forward, who's alive in 2026, who works at her museum? Her hands are shaking. Is it possible? Could he really have found a way? She looks at the ring on her finger, the one he gave her. "See you soon, my love," he'd said. He knew. He knew this would happen. She grabs her coat and runs.
She arrives at the museum out of breath. Goes straight to HR. "I need to know if there's anyone named Nathan Ashford working here, any department." The woman at the desk looks confused. "We can't give out employee information." Please, it's important. I'm an employee, Zendaya Martinez, Restoration Department. I just need to know if he works here." The woman hesitates, then checks her computer. "There is a Nathan Ashford. He works in... he works in archives, lower level. He's been here for about a year. Can you tell me what he looks like? I'm sorry, I really can't. Please, it's life or death. I need to know." The woman sees something in Zendaya's eyes. Desperation. Truth. He's tall, dark hair with some gray, maybe late 20s, early 30s. Quiet, keeps to himself mostly. Very knowledgeable about historical documents. Zendaya's heart stops. It's him. It's actually him. "Where's the archives department?" "Sub-level 2? But you need clearance to..." She is already running. She takes the stairs 2 at a time. Sub-level 2. The archives are quiet, dimly lit. Rows of filing cabinets and document storage. And there, at a desk in the corner, working by lamplight, a man. She stops. Can't breathe. Can't move. He's exactly as described. Dark hair, gray threading through it. Late 20s physically. But his eyes are old, wise, carrying the weight of decades. He looks up, sees her, and time stops running. They stare at each other across the archive room. Recognition blazes between them like lightning. Zendaya. I say, Zendaya. Zendaya! She breathes. Nathaniel. Nathaniel. He stands, slowly, like he can't believe she's real. "You got my letter. How are you here? How is this possible?" It's a very long story, involving timeline jumps and temporal mechanics, and calculations that took me 40 years to work out. He takes a step toward her, but I promised I'd find you, and I keep my promises. "But you died in 1958. I was there." That version of me died, but before I did, I figured out how to send my consciousness forward to a version of me in a parallel timeline, one who never met you. I overwrote him, essentially. Gave him my memories, my knowledge, my love for you. That's insane. So is everything else we've done. Another step closer. I've been working here for a year, waiting for you to come back from 1898, watching from a distance, making sure everything happened exactly as it needed to. You've been here the whole time? The whole time. I saw you leave on New Year's Eve, saw you disappear, and I've been waiting for you to find the letter, to understand, to come looking for me. They're 3 feet apart now. I lived 43 years with you, watched you age, watched you die, and now you're here,
young again. How am I supposed to process that? The same way I processed loving someone who disappeared through time. The same way we've processed everything else. He reaches out, takes her hand. The ring he gave her catches the light. You gave me this in 1955, right before I left. I remember. I wanted you to have something of mine, something that would last. And you said I'd understand why later. Do you? She meets his eyes. It's so you'd recognize me when I came looking for you. That you'd know it was really me. That I really did live those years with you. Exactly. She starts crying. I thought I'd lost you forever. You did. And you found me again. That's how this works.
He pulls her into his arms, and she collapses into him, just like she did in 1912. I've been so lost, she sobs. I have 2 lifetimes of memories. I've lived over 60 years, but my body is 25. I don't know who I am anymore. You're Zendaya and Clara and everything you've experienced. You're the woman who traveled through time to save someone, who lived 43 years in the past, who found her way home. He pulls back to look at her. You're extraordinary, and I've loved you across 2 lifetimes now. 2 lifetimes? The first time, I loved you for 43 years, and then I jumped forward, and I've been loving you for a year in this timeline. That's 44 years total. I'm very committed. She laughs through her tears. You're insane. You've mentioned that before. And you said that time travel is insane too. I know, I'm consistent. She kisses him, and this kiss is different from all the others. It's not desperate, not urgent, not even particularly romantic. It's a kiss that says, I found you, finally. Across time and space and impossible odds, I found you. When they break apart, she's smiling. So what happens now? Now, he takes her hand. Now we live, properly, in the same time, the same place. No archways, no time jumps, just us. That sounds boring. After everything we've been through, boring sounds perfect. She squeezes his hand. There's just one problem. What? I still have to go back to December 31st, 2025. I have to make sure my past self touches the invitation and travels back to 1898. The loop has to close. I know. I'll help you. We'll make sure everything happens exactly as it needs to. And then we have the rest of our lives, however long that is, in whatever form it takes. She leans against him. I'm tired, Nathaniel. I've lived so many years, experienced so much. I just want to rest. Then rest. I'll be here when you wake up. Promise? When have I ever broken a promise to you? Never. Across 2 lifetimes and 127 years, he's never broken a promise. She closes her eyes, and for the first time since 1955, she feels safe.
December 31st, 2025. Zendaya and Nathan spend the year together. Not just a year, the whole year, January through December. They don't live together. That would be too complicated to explain. But they spend every free moment in each other's company. They go on dates, simple ones, coffee shops, museums, parks. They talk about everything, about their lives, about time travel, about what it means to love someone across decades. They exist in the present, finally, together. But as December 31st approaches, the weight of what must happen settles over them. Tonight's the night, Zendaya says on the morning of December 31st. They're in Nathan's flat, sitting by the window, watching London wake up. Tonight your past self will touch the invitation and disappear. The loop will close. Yes,
And we'll just let it happen? We have to. If we interfere, the timeline fractures. Everything we've lived through might unravel. I hate this. Me too. They sit in silence for a while. Do you ever wonder, Nathan says quietly, if we're making the right choices? Playing along with destiny instead of fighting it? Every day. But then I remember, if we hadn't played along, we never would have met. Clara would have died. The curse would have continued. Sometimes destiny isn't the enemy. Sometimes it's the path to exactly where we need to be. Very philosophical for someone who's technically lived 65 years. I have Clara's Victorian sensibilities. They make me wise. He laughs, kisses her forehead. Tonight, after your past self disappears, what do? We live, finally, without the way of timelines and loops and paradoxes. We just exist. That sounds perfect. That night, they go to the museum together. They watch from the security cameras as past Zendaya arrives, alone, heartbroken, lost. They watch her catalog artifacts, watch her find the invitation, watch her read the message, watch her touch the blood-written words, and disappear. The moment she vanishes, present Zendaya feels something shift, like reality settling into its final form. The loop is closed. Everything that needed to happen has happened. She turns to Nathan. It's done. It's done, he confirms. So what now? Now we go home, together, and we start the next chapter. They leave the museum hand in hand. Outside, London is celebrating. Fireworks, crowds, countdown to midnight. They find a quiet spot, away from the chaos, and as the clock strikes midnight, they kiss. Happy New Year, she whispers. Happy New Year, my love. I've lived through 43 New Year's Eves with you in the past, and now I get to live through this one in the present. And many more to come. She leans against him. I used to think time was linear, past, present, future, all in a straight line. And now? Now I know it's circular, looping, connecting moments across decades. We were always going to meet, always going to love each other, always going to find our way back together. Fate? Something like that. Or maybe just really stubborn love. He laughs. I like that better. They stand there watching fireworks paint the sky. Two people who've loved each other across 127 years. Who've lived multiple lifetimes. Who've defied time itself to be together. And finally, they get to just exist. In the same moment, the same timeline. Together. No more running, no more searching. Just love. And that's enough.
6 months later, June 2026, Zendaya and Nathan are moving into a flat together. It's small, cozy, perfect for two people who've spent lifetimes waiting to share a space. As they unpack boxes, Nathan finds something in one of Zendaya's bags. What's this? It's a journal, leather-bound, old. She takes it from him. Clara's journal, from 1898. I took it with me when we went through the archway. It traveled through time with me. May I read it? She hesitates, then nods. He opens it carefully. Reads Clara's entries, her hopes, her fears, her desperate need to escape an unbearable life. And then, at the end, a new entry. In Zendaya's handwriting. Dated December 31st, 1898. Dear future me. If you're reading this, it means we made it. We merged. We survived the archway and we're somewhere, some win, trying to find our way home. I don't know if this will work. I don't know if we'll make it back to 2025, but I know one thing. We'll never stop fighting, never stop searching, never give up on finding the people we love. Clara taught me that. In the brief moments before we merged, I felt her strength, her resilience, her refusal to be broken by a world that tried to crush her. I carry that with me now, forever. And I promise you, whether it takes years or decades or centuries, we'll find our way home. We'll find Nathaniel again, and we'll build a life worth living. That's the gift Clara gave us, the gift of hope. Never forget that. Love, Zendaya, and Clara. Nathan closes the journal. His eyes are wet. She's still part of you, Clara. Always. Her memories, her strength, her spirit, she's woven into everything I am now. He pulls her close. You're remarkable. You know that. I had good teachers, a Victorian woman who refused to be defeated, and a man who loved me enough to spend 45 years across 2 lifetimes finding me. They finish unpacking in comfortable silence. As evening falls, they sit on their small balcony, watching the city lights come on. What do you want to do tomorrow? Something normal. Go to the market, cook dinner, watch a movie. Just exist. That sounds perfect. And it does. After lifetimes of chaos and impossibility, normal sounds absolutely perfect. They sit together as stars emerge in the twilight sky. 2 souls who've traveled through time, who've lived multiple lives, who've defied every rule of reality to be together, and now, finally, impossibly, miraculously, they get to rest together, where they belong.